Brace yourself for a retro trip down memory lane. 80's Overdrive is a love letter to 8 and 16-bit consoles and the games from that era. The developers and self-publishers Insane Code wanted a game like the games they grew up playing, however, without all the drawbacks, issues, and age that some of those games have. I can say as somebody who often looks back and does retrospectives on those games, they definitely succeeded. 80's Overdrive is an almost perfect reworking of a classic type of game that's really not seen anymore. 80's Overdrive is a synthwave racing dream. Apparently 2020 is a synthwave dream for me because I played Paradise Killer, parts of No Straight Roads with synthwave. I don't know what it is. It's just the year for it. With 18 synthwave 80s inspired songs to groove to and 34 available tracks to race on, there's no shortage of good cruising time. I think you can all tell from the first race, either you're watching the video or, screenshots, you get major F-Zero vibes. Road rash for cars, but I think most importantly, you're gonna think of Outrun. For most people, it will probably be Outrun, especially since the early Yakuza games have it in the arcade, and I know a lot of people have been getting all of those Yakuza games. In this just a feel-good time game, there's a career mode where you can race on those 34 tracks to win, gain points, and move up the 20-person ladder. You start at the bottom, of the AI ladder, and then you race and you move up, hard work and all that. Additionally, there is a time attack trial kind of thing where you really just get flashback into Outrun. It just really brought me back. And finally, there is a track editor where you move slides to create your own custom tracks. It's not the most in-depth editor, but again, this really isn't the most in-depth game. 80's Overdrive, from what I can see, is available on Steam, Nintendo Switch, and the 3DS eShop. That's right, I said the 3DS. This game runs surprisingly good, like really good. There is hardly any loading times as well, and I swear it takes longer to launch the game than it does to load into the races. It must be the awesome Power Glove looking cursor that helps, but I'm not quite sure it is. As you race, you get to choose from one of 6 classic looking cars. They all have different names, but you can clearly see which car they're inspired to be, like the Ferrari F40, which is called the Penetrator GT. Do you know how hard it is to write that and say without laughing my you-know-what off? While you're cruising around, there are also side objectives in some of the races to do, like collecting boxes that can earn you extra coins. Just don't get busted by the police. This is so important to manage your fuel, your look out for the cops while you're heading down the highway at breakneck speeds, and manage your damage. Running out of fuel without coins means you'll fail that race. Too much damage, which means you will fail the race, and getting busted by the cops will mean you fail the race. Now, I have praised this a lot because there is a lot to love about this game, and it is a near perfect rework. Let me state, even with the dings I'm about to get into, it's still a good game, but it's not perfect. Somehow, 80's Overdrive manages to be fast and slow at the same time. Confusing, I know. You can tell you're going fast because you can see your speedometer, and at turns you really get that, that speed, but the rest of the game just feels like it's not going fast enough. Even with the nitrous upgrades and stuff, it still feels like sluggish on some of the tracks. It's not bad for someone like me who suffers from motion sickness quite easily, especially on Outrun. I appreciate the slower pace. However, when I'm doing a solid 168, I want to feel like I'm doing a buck 68, Maybe that's just me. Traffic, to put it very nicely, is chaotic. Sometimes unfairly feeling so. It feels like no matter how hard you try, some cars just have to hit you. You can swerve, hit the NOS, they just feel like they need to hit you anyway. They cut you off, or it's just something that makes you feel like you need to crash, take damage, and lose your pole position. I'm talking like Family Guy's left turn, okay everybody, we make a left turn now, madness for some of these AI. And speaking of AI, those cops, oh my god, I thought the cops in GTA 5 were bad. Like, These menaces have a taste for your blood and engine oil. They will hunt you down and try to crash into you 3 times, and then after the 3rd time they'll just like kind of give up. But they'll try to bust you like that one Crew 1 DLC, the Cops and like Robbers one. That's what they'll try to do. My final ding on this is probably the biggest and most important one. In my opinion, the coin grind is kind of ridiculous. Coins are used to tune your car with engine upgrades, transmission upgrades, and more. Coins are also used to buy new cars, refuel, and repair damage. And at the rate you get them, while you're paying for fuel and fixing your damages for that crazy AI that doesn't care about anything in your day, it just doesn't feel like it's enough. At least not enough for a quick game, like a hop in for 5 minutes and you can do something kind of game. This is a game that feel like most people are either going to fire up while you're waiting for a download or for a render. You're waiting for something. You're not going to grind it out like it's Destiny or Division, Cyberpunk, like whatever you're playing right now. Maybe some of you will like the grind and the ratio of coins earned, but I personally found it out of proportion for just the general game factors and what happens in the gameplay and how long you're actually going to be playing this in one sitting. I personally believe, and this might sound a little weird, I believe this could be a good mobile game. It's not a knock on it, of course, because there's some awesome mobile games, and maybe since it's on the 3DS and Switch, it could technically be called a mobile game, it's just not on phones, but hear me out real quick. I know what I said is funky. It's a quick game, with most of the levels taking 1 to 2 minutes, or some of the other ones take a little bit longer, but no more than 5 minutes. The gameplay is the same throughout, with maybe small minor changes to watch out for the cops, or to pick up, to do the side quests that you run across. The gameplay is not going to change. It's an easy hop in and hop out kind of experience. Additionally, with it being a mobile game, especially on a phone with that hop in, hop out, I would be more likely to accept the kind of intense coin grind that can be, that can happen. Imagine knocking out a level or two with some awesome synth music in the background, some banging visuals while you're in bed or in the car, not driving hopefully, but in the car in the passenger seat, on the bus, something. Honestly, I think the main people that are going to be drawn to 80's Overdrive is probably going to be retro heads, or people that like the pixel, that awesome pixel style from back in the day. The pixel art is downright stunning, and it hits that retro sweet spot. It's not a Forza or a Gran Turismo, but a flashback to a time before those games. There's no groundbreaking gameplay here or anything that we haven't seen before. In addition, the other draw to this game, I will say, will be the music. I can't play any of the music in the video for you because it is copyright, without a doubt. But the 16 in-game synthwave soundtracks to choose from, and just drive like hell to. I think 80's Overdrive is a decent game for those of us who are looking for a game from our past without all the baggage that comes with it, either by obtaining it, getting the hardware to run it, or just them not having aged well, some of them. Unfortunately, like those games, this lacks a few things here and there. However, I do believe that most people will have fun, and it's a good hop in, hop out type of game when you need a retro fix. I would say get this on Steam, but as somebody who's played it on Steam, I think this is just a game that's going to be better handheld for most people. Well, 80's Overdrive can be picked up today on Steam if you really do want it, the Nintendo Switch and 3DS eShop. Pick it up if you want, and tell me what you think of it in the comment section below, or let me know if you've played this below. Did I get anything wrong? Am I crazy? We all know I'm crazy, but am I crazier than usual? Tell me what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.